And we're live. The KJ, the JK, the KJK.
JK Talks. It's Saturday night.
There it is.
We're
Is
live.
it? Saturday night and the moon is out. Richard West is out.
It's Saturday night. We're live.
Yeah. We're going to tell the news. So, by the way, Trump and Harris had a debate, finally.
No way.
And she didn't even have a sit-down interview. She still hasn't had a It's been like 45 days since she's had a sit-down interview with anyone that's live and not edited.
That's a good point. Someone right after that debate said they can't remember one thing she actually said during the debate.
I remember somebody saying that.
Because it was just all nonsense. Like there were no details, no actionable things. No, it was just rhetoric.
It was like I'm going to do this.
I'm going to do this. And he's doing that. And it's just, yeah, just very elementary type of stuff. Just the only things that would really get people that are on her side already, or just people who are, hardcore leftists, just a bunch of nonsense. Yeah. No substance. It was substanceless.
Favorite mathematician, his name is John Lennox. He's a mathematician at Oxford. And one of his most famous quotes ever.
He's a Christian guy, right?
Yeah, he's a Christian mathematician. Really, really smart guy. He absolutely owned Dawkins in a debate. I mean, it was like he was hurting. He had nothing. But one of my favorite quotes from him is, "Nonsense is nonsense, even if spoken by famous scientists." And it was mainly in reference to how scientists will say dumb things like, because of the law of gravity, the universe can and will create itself from nothing. It's like, what?
Yeah. You just said it. I don't even have to make a comment
very famous
about that.
physicists. I forgot who said that one, but it was a very famous physicist.
Oh, yeah, it's Stephen Hawking, wasn't it?
It could have been Hawking. It sounds like something dumb that he would say. Yeah. So John Lennox, my wife was like, yeah, he's the man. He's also an apologist. Also, he's Irish. So, like, when you listen to him talk,
he's got a great accent.
You're just like, yeah. This is like the grandpa everyone wishes that he had. But anyways, that's what that made me think of, is because nonsense is nonsense, even when spoken by whatever Kamala is.
Which makes me think of facts are facts, even spoken from a child, right? 2 + 2 is 4. If, you jump off a building, you're going to fall, right? Facts. Doesn't matter who says it, right? So, yeah, great point. I like that analogy.
Yeah, I was telling somebody this the other day because they were trying to talk about how, it's all about your opinion and stuff. And I was like, well, if you stopped believing in gravity, would you come back down if you jump up? Like, think about it, like there is objective reality, right?
And then what happened?
And these people, they don't believe in objective reality very much, do they?
I guess. Well, okay, hold on a second. If they say they don't believe in objective reality, then is what they just said even worth anything?
That's a good point too. Right, like relative truth, right? When somebody makes the statement, there is no absolute truth, it just falls on its head, because the only way that could be true is if it were absolutely true all the time.
Right, are you absolutely sure?
There would be exceptions to that.
Yep.
But the problem with making a statement like that is that it cannot be absolutely true if the statement is true. It's paradoxical.
Exactly.
But anyways, getting too much into philosophy and not enough into politics. What was said during the debate? So I watched some of it. I didn't watch all of it. Did you watch the whole thing?
I watched a good chunk of it, and it was interesting because things were going along again, I really like Trump's demeanor. He was just looking straight ahead in the camera, very just focused. So even when Kamala was had her turn, he did not look at her, man. He just kept looking straight ahead. But when Trump was speaking, she
She
was
was
looking
looking at
right at
him.
him, and then she was
Yeah.
looking right at him, and then she'd make these faces
Yeah.
like these smug faces. It's really stupid, right? And
Yeah.
so that was really good because Trump all the way, like boom, all night, just looking straight, basically the whole
Yeah,
time.
and then she tried to
Camera.
interrupt him even though her mic was off, and he was like, excuse me, I'm talking."
Exactly. He turned it around on her, and that was beautiful.
Yeah, that was good. So I'm sure everybody's probably already seen it by now. Do we have any clips of from the debate that you wanted to look at? I don't think I pulled anything up. I have some stuff pulled up for another topic that we're talking about today, but nothing about the debate.
Hmm. Not really, nothing specific.
Yeah.
All I know is that there was one thing that people kept hoping that Trump would have brought up that he didn't. I mean, obviously, he did bring up the illegal situation. That was
Yeah,
good.
in the
Uh,
funniest possible outcome, like so many people were posting memes, AI generated memes of him saving cats.
Yeah, yeah, I saw that. And him
Just
riding
and
a
if you
cat and
don't know
stuff.
what we're talking about, just look up Trump saves the cats or something and just like image shirts and you will not be disappointed.
Yeah, it's pretty rad. But
Oh man.
yeah, I will come back to that point. But the thing that a lot of people were saying that they really hoped Trump would have stated, which he did not the whole time, was the fact of the 325,000 missing children. 325,000 of them just
Hmm.
missing
From where?
from like when they take them in across the border and stuff. They just, oh, missing. 325,000, almost half a million kids missing. Who knows where they're at? Maybe they're dead. Maybe they're being child trafficked, sex trafficked. I mean, it's disgusting, right? And he knows that fact, but he, because of who knows time and just your brain kind of gets all whacked out during debates sometimes. He forgot. That's a shame. A lot of people brought that up. He could have really said that because thing is he did well. Okay, he won, but you can a lot of people even said that Kamala Harris, a lot of her answers were canned answers, so you could tell she was probably fed a lot of those questions. You know.
Also, I think that she had an earpiece. I think that I've heard people talk about that, and it seems like for if you look at how she responds to certain things,
Mm-hmm.
it seems plausible. Because if you
Yeah.
look at the earring she was wearing, it looks a lot like a model of earring that has a hidden speaker in it.
Mm. Okay. Yeah.
So that's a thing.
Anything's possible with them. They'll do
Yeah.
whatever. But yeah. So that one point could have been brought up. A lot of people were saying, ah, dang. And then also, which again, going back to the immigration thing, it was kind of interesting and funny that he talked about that lady eating a cat. Now, the thing is about that, A, that's true, and B, it's actually really sick because they do all that stuff in Haiti. Like that's their thing. Their main religion is voodoo. So it's
Hmm.
totally demonic and satanic over there on there. That's why it's just utter chaos and darkness.
Hmm.
So they're coming over here, and apparently, yeah, the lady got caught, and who knows how many other pets and animals are getting sacrificed unto their gods,
Their voodoo god or
their
whatever.
demons. So yeah, man, it's not a joke. People can laugh at it all they want until they look it up and like, oh dang, this is real. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. The
I
memes
mean,
are
do
the
you want
funny
someone
part.
coming in and taking your puppy and eating them right in front of you?
I
It's
would assume
disgusting.
they probably cook them first, right?
Well, actually, I don't know because I heard something has to do with the religion where something with the blood being
Oh,
it's something. Dude, it's demonic, bro.
it's crazy. I don't know too much about it. I know that they practice voodoo sometimes. Like culturally, that's a big thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but
Yeah.
I don't know too much about all of it. I don't know. I try to just stay out of that kind of thing, I guess.
That's a good call.
Protect my ears and protect my eyes, kind
Yeah,
of thing.
good
But
call.
I've heard that they're into some demonic stuff sometimes. And of course,
Yeah.
this, it's not a blanket everybody all at once kind of thing, obviously, because each person is their own individual person. Um, but yeah, so I think seeing like how the culture um, typically runs, and then making decisions on that. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think some people would call it like, oh, you're being racist or whatever, but I think you're looking at what we're seeing. And not everybody is like that, obviously, but when you look at what we're seeing, it's like, okay, well, what generally is what we're seeing with people that are crossing the border that are from there, and that is what we're seeing. That's what we're observing. So it's just an observational reality, um, which is unfortunate. But it made me think of um, Titus chapter 1, when Paul is talking to Timothy, or sorry, Paul is talking to Titus. Um, he tells him that even one of the Cretans' own writers, ancient writers or whatever, that the Cretans on the island of Crete admired, even that person said that Cretans are always lazy and liars and evil and gluttonous and stuff. And Paul was like, "This saying is true, so rebuke them sharply." And I think there's truth in that. Like, you don't have to say that. You don't have to say, well, it's blanket for everybody, because Paul is writing to Titus because they went to Crete so that they could bring people to Jesus, and people that are being conformed to the image of Christ. Um, their lives don't look like, liars and evil brutes and lazy gluttons anymore. But that's the culture, and I think addressing the culture, and calling it for what it is actually more helpful to somebody than harmful. I think it's harmful to not address the culture.
Yeah, it's like, so you want people to stay in their slop and foolishness? No. Fact is, even beyond the culture though, it's the state of mankind, right? We're all fallen. So just because they're outwardly doing these weird demonic things where it's visual, guess what? Everyone who is not Christ right now, meaning unregenerate people everywhere in the world, here, there, and everywhere, well, guess what? They're denying that Jesus is the Christ, the only way to life. And
Yeah,
what does First John say? He who denies Jesus as being the Son of God is a liar, is an antichrist.
and he's worse
So
than an unbeliever.
exactly. So everyone who is not the Lord's at this moment in time, don't care if it's Haiti or California or Ohio or wherever, doesn't matter. All dead in their trespasses and sins.
Yeah, and that is where these guys are being sent to,
Yeah, Springfield.
literally,
Yep.
because there's also a phrase apparently by Gen Alpha called "sending things to Ohio" or something like that.
Mm.
Sent it to Ohio. I don't know. I don't understand. Gen Z is one generation past me because I'm a millennial, but Gen Alpha, I don't know. I know some of their phrases, but I don't know how to use them correctly because I'm just an old man at this point. So yeah,
Yeah, you are.
yeah,
Look at
I
that
am.
do rag. Do like a do rag.
Hmm. Yeah, I used to wear this actually in high school. This is a beanie that I've had since high school. We're
Sweet.
cleaning out our closets and packing everything because we're getting ready to move. And I'm like, oh hey, look, I found some like random like boys clothing. I guess people have like gifted us these things in the past or something, and we're like, thanks, but we don't have any boys, and I guess we just hung on to them. And there's like a whole box of like boys clothes, and I'm like, huh, okay, well, we have a
I
boy.
mean, dude, one of your daughters when they grow up could totally rock that beanie though.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Sure.
Yep.
Dude, that thing, yeah. The color and everything, dude, that's rad.
Thanks. Yeah, so as far as the debate goes, I mean, Trump brought up the whole like the Haitians and the eating cats thing. And they talked about a myriad of issues. Oh, and she brought up the whole there were good people on both sides thing. Talk like thinking how like he Trump was somehow talking about Nazis having good people on both sides or something. And it's been debunked so many times that it's just ridiculous at this point. It's like, seriously? Even Snopes, which is a left wing fact checking website, even Snopes has debunked it. And Kamala's still bringing up this old stuff. Like, people are still going to believe this. And nobody believes it anymore. I don't know what she was thinking trying to do that, but she's not exactly the brightest bulb in the shed or whatever you would want to call it.
Exactly.
Good people on both sides. It's been debunked. That's not what he was talking about. You have to look at the context.
They don't care about context, okay?
Yeah. It's really dangerous when you do that, though. That's exactly how you get false theology in the church.
I was just gonna say that. Yes,
When
that's
somebody
how you
reads one
get
verse out of
feel good. That's
context.
how you get feel good theology.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. But yeah, I mean, I thought the debate, again, neither of you or I, we watched the entire thing from start to finish. I don't think I could stomach it. Because even just from watching the clips, I was like, oh my goodness, some of this was pretty bad. And some people said that she had a good few points here and there. Um, and if you look at what both sides are saying, still it tends to be that about I think it was about 70% of people thought that Trump won. It's more like 90% if you ask like more right leaning kind of sources. Like I saw that there was a poll on X, and I think it was like 90%. Let's see if I can find it. Where's that poll?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, people who are really honest, like even let's say more right-leaning conservatives, um, they'll tell you, yeah, Trump won, but he could have done better. You know,
Yeah,
like people who say Kamala Harris did okay is only because she didn't come across as usual as far as just being a total dope. You know what I mean? That's the only reason. Other than that, she didn't say anything. She just gave emotional, again, rhetorical answers to things. It was just, then so many times she didn't even answer the question. It was like, eh. Yeah, no, it was nothing. It was no substance at all, what she said. So,
yeah. I don't know how to find anything on here because I'm not on X very often. So I don't know.
oh, okay.
I'm trying to find. There was a poll
Yeah, there was
that
a
was
poll.
on Infowars
Yeah, and for yep,
because she
yep.
sent me the link to Infowars, and then when I was watching it, they were just kind of talking about the debate in the past tense.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know how to search for that.
I'm gonna
But
check it out.
the poll when I first responded to it or whatever, and I was following the poll, there were like within an hour of them posting the poll. I mean, there were like hundreds of thousands of
Oh yeah.
people voting on it, and it was pretty close between 90-10. 90% thought that Trump won the debate. 10% thought Kamala did. I think
Yeah.
the general consensus among more, less biased, not that it's a bad bias, I guess, but just an inherent bias with a website like Infowars. But let's see. Poll on who won the debate. Trump,
I hold on.
Harris. Oh, I want to see the VP debate. That should be a good one to watch.
Oh, that'll be interesting. Yeah, that Tim guy is gonna go nuts. Watch. No, he is. He's gonna be a whack job, just like they all are. Watch. You'll see. He's gonna be a whack job.
Oh, okay. Hold on. A Reuters Ipsos poll of 1,400 registered voters who had heard at least something about the debate found that 53% said Harris won and 24% said Trump won. So this is
Yeah,
totally in the
yeah.
opposite direction.
Reuters. You know what that is? Please.
Oh,
Can't
is
even
it
get more.
pronounced Reuters?
Can't even get more leftist than that.
Okay, so it's a very left-winging
The very
poll.
liberal
So she
garbage.
gets
Yeah,
she gets a
that's
53% and Trump 24%. Versus if you have a right-leaning, it was 90-10.
yeah.
Okay. Lead of 5 points over her rival nationally, 47-42. Up 45-41 in August.
Thing is that this is my only critique on Trump. Okay, he during the debate he repeated certain points too many times. You know,
Mm,
I think I get it saying a thing maybe a couple times or whatever, but a couple of those situations he could have said something different. You know, something else, something more.
hmm
But like I said, I get it. I mean, you're in the spotlight. It's pretty late at night already. I mean, I get it. I understand.
Yeah. So this website is saying that the majority of people thought that she won, but it wasn't as much of as much of a difference as it was on when you look at something that's a more right leaning. If that's a more left leaning, that was only a difference of maybe 20 percentage points, whereas it was about 90-10 Trump versus Kamala
uh-huh.
when you look at right leaning. So I don't know, and that's what people's opinions are generally. Is that it seems like people are not as on board with Harris on the left side. People are still like, well, yeah, I mean, she kind of did get rid of Biden. He's kind of not existent. He's kind of like he exists, but he doesn't exist. And he was supposed to be the pick, and now it's Kamala last minute, and she didn't actually really she didn't earn it. She kind of just got handed it.
Right.
And so people are realizing that I think on the left, and some people like her, some people don't like her on the left hand side, but on the right hand side, pretty much everybody is getting behind Trump. They're like whether people have liked him in the past or not, people are like no, but it has to be him. Like we cannot have this crazy lady because it's one thing for people to be like, oh well, she'll be the first woman president, and it's like yeah, and that'll be a great accomplishment one day, but it just can't be her. Like there
Like
are
yeah, you
there
want
are
so you want
there are a
that
lot
to
of great
be
ladies out there, but she's not
yeah
one of them.
yeah. So you want that to be the representative of women?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Ask Willie Brown.
Yeah, they Amanda was asking if they talked about abortion. I think they did talk about abortion. So
They did bring it up a little bit. Yeah.
he's been I don't like his stance on abortion.
I don't either.
That's one thing I don't like about him is he's not hard enough on it. I get it as a politician, you can't have the stance that I have and have any hope of being elected. I think that any 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 amount of abortion should be just illegal. It's murder. But no politician is going to get elected with a stance like that. So that's one thing. But he does have a pretty pro-choice kind of stance on things. Um,
Thing is, right? Thing is,
yeah,
he could still be an abolitionist. You understand? You know what that is?
right. Yeah, that's my
Yeah.
stance.
Yeah. Getting rid of abortion or at least standing in that, saying, no, I'm against it. But it's at the state level now. So the states get to choose and decide.
Yeah, which
Because
I thought
he,
was nice that he did that. Because then it kind of but they made it an issue. Because they that was a great move because one, it allows for the states to have individual responsibility on that. But then
exactly.
also, it's not really something that the left can get upset about because some states decided to make it even worse, and
Yep.
some states decided to make it even better. And so they're trying to be upset about it like it's his fault somehow when it actually didn't really have anything to do with him anyways, the Roe v. Wade being overturned. But um, yeah, they're making it out to be like an issue that's like against him or something. It's like that wasn't even That wasn't even him, for one. And then two, it's not really it's not really a move against abortion necessarily. It's just giving that right back to the states to decide what they want to do with it.
Right, which is
So,
why I think Trump in debates and in the public needs to just say, I'm against it. It's wrong. It's murder, but it is to the states now.
yeah, but even there, everything he says in that regard he has to be really careful about as a politician.
Well, plus, as far as that goes, I forget. I was gonna say something, I forgot. It's all good. Eh.
That's a dangerous political topic to talk about, which is unfortunate because it really should just be, look, it's murder, so let's not murder babies. Period. But,
Again, he could say that,
he could,
and the
and then
the fact is, they hate
watch
him.
his polls go down.
They hate him anyway. I disagree because they hate him anyway. Oh, who's his polls going to know by who? You think a bunch of leftists are voting for him? No.
But people on the right have that view as well.
Eh.
Yeah, so his polls would drop. Yeah, at least 5 percentage points. If he came out and he made an abolitionist statement, I guarantee his poll numbers would drop by at least 5%.
Fine. He doesn't say abolitionist, but he just says, I'm not for abortion. It's murder.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah. I think it would. Yeah, that's the thing with politics, right? Is that it's always the lesser two evils, and as a politician, you have to watch what you're saying and be really careful because the opponent's always going to try to attack you, and it's a very very dog eat dog world.
I mean, at the end of the day, look, the way the country's been going for 3.5 years, okay,
Hmm.
and the way it was before when Trump was in office compared to the last 3.5 years, if Americans are really going to go ahead and vote for her and Trump can't beat her, even if he loses 5 percentage points, then that's just God's judgment, bro. Period. It's God's judgment in the first place that, if we end up with her anyway, that's a
Yeah.
fact. So, you know,
Okay.
that's it.
Yeah. Then I would probably try to have my prayers sound like Lot's or no Abraham's, and be like, Lord, spare me for talking one more time, but if there were 30 people that were righteous in America, would you spare them for the 30? um,
um,
yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think that there's enough of a remnant of people who are truly saved in America that we're not quite there yet, but we're getting there for sure. Which brings us into our next topic. What is Christian? What is Mere Christianity? One of my favorite books, Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis. Good stuff. Good stuff. It is my favorite book outside of the Bible. I think we've talked a little bit about it before. Have you read it or listened to it?
I read it years ago. I have a copy of it.
Nice. Yeah, we have a copy as well. I've actually listened to it more times than I've read it. Because I've been more of a book listener lately. Um, but I also really like it. Absolutely love it. Outside of the Bible, there's so many nuggets. There's so many nuggets in the book, and I have the opportunity with my lovely wife Amanda. Hey Amanda, to go through the book with some people from church, and yeah, it's exciting. So um,
Cool. Now,
in
you know what?
preparation, we've been getting ready.
There's a great, if you go to YouTube,
Yeah.
there's someone who actually, I don't know if they use AI or not, but he literally reads the entire first chapter and they do like animation with it, bro.
Hmm.
It's fantastic. And it's almost like a radio broadcast of
I'll have to
the
look that
first
up.
chapter. You got to check it out. It's fun. I saw that a couple of months ago or something like that. A few months ago. It was fantastic.
Yeah, let me look that up now before I forget.
Look it up.
That's really cool. So Mere Christianity, uh, chapter 1. Mere Christianity. Chapter 1 audiobook CC Challenge. What's CC Challenge? Hmm.
Yeah, so if you look, there's gonna be quite a few, but there's this one specific one, man, so good. I mean, literally lays it out with drawings and it says broadcast. Yeah, I think it's by C.S. Lewis Doodle. See that? Yeah, that's got to be it. C.S. Lewis Doodle.
Oh, here it is. C.S. Lewis Doodle. C.S. Lewis BBC Broadcast Talks, Mere Christianity, Books 1 through 4.
Oh man, look at that. Yeah, the complete C.S. Lewis Doodle.
Nice.
Dude, I'm telling you,
Oh man, I know what my wife and I are doing tonight.
you want to talk about
That's
going through like a
awesome.
Bible study? Dude, this right here would be
Bro,
phenomenal
thank
material.
you.
Okay. You're welcome.
Oh
Yeah.
man, yeah, we're gonna
Telling
have
you.
to pop that up on the TV. Each of them are like 10 minutes long.
Oh,
That's
I'm telling you,
perfect. And then
dude.
we can jump
It's
into what kind of insights people got out of it and stuff.
mhm.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love it. So many good things in there. I mean, he talks about everything. He talks about, you know, who Jesus has to be, right? That's where we get the famous trilemma. If you've ever heard of the trilemma, liar, lunatic, or Lord, that comes from C.S. Lewis's Mere Christianity. He doesn't say it exactly like that. He basically says something like, if he's not Lord, then he would have to be either a complete loon or the devil himself. And if you look at the context of that, he's talking about like lying, but it's not. So with people, it's definitely an oversimplification to say liar, lunatic, or Lord, but it has a nice alliteration to it.
Yep.
But he talks about that in his book. He talks about how like the whole like man, the husband being the head of the wife and stuff like that, which is a really tough topic to talk about because especially with the modern day feminist movement. It's like, oh, women empowerment, blah blah blah, and it's like, well, somebody has to be in charge though, so you can't just have this like, oh, we're submitting to each other. Because some people say, oh, well, Ephesians 5 says submit to each other, and it's like, yeah, we have to read it in context because ultimately, one of my favorite quotes from the book, he says, in the council of two, there can be no majority. You cannot have a majority vote in a council of two. So it just does not work. It's not a good system. You have to have somebody in charge. And he gives a very good reason. I won't get into it, but he gives a very good reason why, outside of the Bible, logically speaking, why it would maybe make more sense for the man to have you know, the vote, so to speak.
Well, Paul does write
uh,
about that, you know.
yeah,
A lot of
yeah,
people want to just make it like a cultural thing about a woman not being a pastor, preacher, you know, and being in charge over man. But
hmm,
he really makes it pretty clear, and it makes sense, is because in the Garden of Eden, who was deceived? It wasn't Adam, it was Eve. She
yeah.
was the one that was deceived.
And that
Now,
is what you
sin does
see.
come through Adam, but she was the one that was deceived. And so goes on the idea of that. Plus, again, Adam was created first. Eve came from Adam. There you go. Amen.
Yeah, yeah, that's First Timothy 2 towards the end of chapter 2. Yeah, that's a really famous one. And then even if you just look at like the qualifications, right? Like look at the qualifications. Who is qualified to be an elder or bishop if you're reading King James? Pastor is usually what everybody calls them these days. It's men. So you know, it, for better or for worse, that's the system. If you don't like it, don't hate me. Hate the God who made the system. I'm just following the system,
I mean, look
right?
at the Old Testament, right? Who were the priests? And who was the
Yeah,
ultimate high priest? Jesus,
yeah,
our
yeah.
eternal
And
high
then
priest
and
and
then the
king.
high priest was the line of Aaron, who was a
Yep.
Levite. Um, and then Jesus, after the order of Melchizedek, who was a man. Yeah, and even when you look at deacons and stuff, you have a certain couple references to female deacons like Phoebe and whatnot. But when you look at the office of deacon, when it was first established, they established 12 men as right. Was it 12 or 7? It was either 12 or 7, but it was
Yeah,
a group of
something like
men,
that.
and one of them was Stephen, who was stoned like several chapters later. But it was, you know, even the office of deacon as like a role. You see the first people that are selected as men. So and you know, all that to say, obviously women are extremely important in the Bible, and I mean, if you know,
Of equal value.
yeah,
Okay,
they
just so
are
everybody
one.
knows, men and women are equal value in the sight of God because we're all made in the image of God. Imago Dei. Okay, we're all equal in that regard as far as worth. Okay, humanity, human beings,
Yeah,
as far as men and women go.
different roles. Yeah, so men tend to be better suited because I think of just the way that God created us to be in the pastoral, like a that teaching role. But when you look at the teaching of children in the educational industry, which is very left leaning, by the way. The educational industry is very left leaning, but when you look at who is in education, even at the high school level, it's still majority female because women tend to be better at teaching children than men. They are especially gifted at teaching younger kids. My wife is way better at teaching our kids stuff than I am. Even when it comes to math, she teaches them math better than I do, and I'm a math teacher. It's just because she's better. Women tend to have this special something that men don't tend to have when it comes to the teaching of kids. They're especially talented. So God made men and women to be especially talented in different ways, and I think just practically we see that in the different industries, you know, even in the world today. Um, but you know, so all of that to say that that's just one of the topics that he hits on in Mere Christianity. He does not hold any punches. He gets into all the nitty gritty in there, and he talks a lot about pride and sin and just, oh man, all the good stuff. One of my favorite quotes, I think probably my favorite quote from that book is this, that man does not know how bad he is until he has tried very hard to be good.
Mm-hmm.
And and building on that, he says that a bad person doesn't know what bad is. Only a good person can know what bad is. Because a bad person thinks that they're doing good. They try to justify their actions with, oh, but you know, I'm doing it because of this. Oh, well, I lied because I was trying to protect so and so, you know, or I had to kill this guy because he was threatening me. You know, you always justify it. You always justify your action with something like, oh, it's okay because you know this. And so when you commit a bad action, a bad person will think that they're not really bad. They'll think that they're doing good things.
Yeah,
They'll try to
no, totally
justify it.
agreed. The fact is, every person is bad. Isn't that funny? So there is no really good or bad people. Everyone's bad. That's the thing. That's why we think, oh, we're doing good when we're not doing good. The only good is God. The only good is Jesus. So he is our good for those that are in him, right?
Hmm.
Because we can't do anything good. The flesh is in constant enmity against God, the Bible says. You know, God says it himself. So it's only the spirit that can discern spiritual things. And because we need a good source, which is God himself, unless we're in him, nothing. Our root is just, we're born in our sinful nature. That's why we don't have to learn to lie or steal or, be offensive or get angry and belligerent and whatever. No, that's in our sinful natural state,
Hmm.
right? So no one's good.
Yeah.
Everyone's bad. Jesus
Yeah,
said it
apart from
himself
Christ, right? But you and I can be good in Christ.
because he is our good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, as believers regenerated by the Spirit and sealed, we can do
So
good
really only
because
believers
of the
can
root,
know
because
what
the
bad
root's
is.
good, you see?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he is our root.
Abiding in the vine.
Boom.
Yeah. Yeah. Amen. Well, yeah. So I mean, there's so much good in that book. Speaking of good and bad,
It
there's so
is.
much
It
good.
is.
I highly recommend it. My favorite quote from Charles Spurgeon. We actually put the quote on our poster board because for 2 Sundays at church we kind of advertise our group. all the different groups that are happening. They all have tables, and you know advertise your group to everybody or whatever. So for our poster board that we had, we put a quote from not C.S. Lewis, Charles Spurgeon. My favorite quote of all time from Charles Spurgeon. It's visit many great books, but live in the Word. And so
Good
that's what
one.
we try to aim to do. We want to visit a lot of good books with this group that we're doing, because it's not just going to be Mere Christianity. Once we finish reading it, we'll move on to another book. But the idea that we'll try to have is, even though the goal of the group is to visit many great books, we also want to keep our people that are in our group accountable to reading more of the Word than we're reading of other books. You know, visiting books and living in the Word, and making sure that's still the priority. So it's gonna be good stuff.
None.
Really looking forward to it.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch these videos that you were talking to me about. That's really
bro,
cool.
you're gonna,
dude.
I tell you, you watch that first one, you're gonna be like, whoa, blown away.
Nice. So I'm gonna pull this video back to the beginning here. Let's see. So I got that one pulled up there. I've got this one pulled up here. And yeah, this other one is creepy. This one right here is from like 2 months ago. And so let me pull this up. Let me yank it over here. So now everybody on YouTube can see it a little bit. And I'll do that. And then I'll come back to here. And then I'll share so you can see it as well. There we go. Pull that up. All right. And now you should be able to hear it as well. You ready?
Whoa.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm ready, but sure.
It's got some scuffs on it, man. This thing has seen better days.
Yeah. Oh.
Gotta put the dancing in there. They can't help themselves. It's like when you watch somebody and they're in their car garage getting their car ready for racing or something, you know, like Fast and the Furious.
Yeah.
It's like the robot version of that. So crazy. He's able to grab it like with a lot of precision there. What's he doing?
Is this thing literally doing all these things by itself?
Yeah. I
Like,
mean,
no
I guess
one's,
he was
like,
given the
controlling it or
command or
nothing?
something to like move the things around, but yeah. What do you think about that
Crazy.
one?
That was rad.
That was pretty rad. So then we have, so I can pull this, yoink this over here, yoink, oink.
Don't get.
So, check this out. I know, right? This is their second most previous video here that we're gonna look at, and that's already looking pretty creepy. Let's see. What? goodness, what am I watching right now?
No.
Sit, boy. Stay. Was that the whole thing? Oh, that was the whole thing. Wow, that was short. Okay.
Oh,
Crazy.
okay.
Yeah. Wow. So that's Boston Dynamics for you. They went like super viral years ago because they had the earlier version of this thing going on and what it could do and everything, and it just keeps getting better and better. I feel like what they're doing is they're doing like military contracts and stuff to keep them in business, and they're using them as like drone AI
Yeah.
drone things. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, they're getting better and better with that stuff. That's crazy. So it's
Yeah, it is.
Boston Dynamics for you. Yeah, their
Hopefully, we're
their their
ready for
page is
when they
actually
release
pretty
all that stuff in
crazy.
neighborhoods.
What?
Hopefully, we're ready when they release all those things in neighborhoods.
You mean you don't want a blue dog as a pet? He knows sit and stay and
I
shake.
do like blue. I don't mind blue.
Yeah.
I like blue.
Okay.
Blue's Clues. Yeah, it looks like Blue's Clues.
Except maybe you're the owner, and then that would mean that you're gonna unexpectedly die one day, and then get replaced with your brother. And Blue won't even blink an eye when you get replaced
Oh,
with your brother.
and then all of a sudden, Blue will start talking, speaking English. Anyway, let's
Yeah, so
end
that's
on a
that's the
happy note.
latest from Boston Dynamics
Yeah.
and what they're up to. Dancing robots is like their thing at this point, so
Why not?
why not? Yeah. That way when you hear about the military contracts and stuff that they're doing, you're like, "Oh, well, but they're dancing robots. How bad could it be?"
Well, exactly. Just like the nurses were dancing during COVID because it was so terrible, and
Mm.
all the nurses everywhere were dancing. It's all good, you know. So when World War III hits, hey, it's all good. You got dancing dogs.
And dancing nurses. Yep. Dancing dog nurses.
Oh yeah. Hello, nurse.
What is this world coming to? Yeah, so that's Boston Dynamics. They have a lot of really cool stuff actually. They can make their robots do all kinds of things. I mean, one of my favorites that's a more recent one is they were having it do like a Ninja Warrior challenge, and it did
Mm.
really well actually. I was like, "Oh, wow. Like I don't even think I could do
Oh,
the
you know
Ninja
what?
Warrior challenge like that."
I I saw one where literally it was running and then it would do like flips.
Yeah. Yeah, they could do flips. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I can't even do a backflip.
I can't do a front or back flip, and I wouldn't try.
Yeah, not at our age. We're old men at this
No.
point. Yeah.
Yep.
He's okay, so my wife was like, not as creepy as that talking one though, but we can't eat them too soon? Question mark. Oh, referring to the dog, I guess.
They're the Haitians.
Yeah, we can't eat those dogs. And then she was
Yep.
like, hashtag too soon. Because the Haitians are eating dogs and cats.
We can eat hot dogs though.
Yeah, yeah, hot dogs. But
Yeah.
yeah. All right, awesome. Well,
All
that
right. Cool.
that concludes for today. So yeah, Mere Christianity. Great book. Highly recommend. We'll try to keep you guys up to date with what's happening in the AI world. Not a whole lot of crazy stuff going on as far as articles and stuff that I was looking up. So just figured we would look at the latest from Boston Dynamics, and then
Good stuff.
that debate. If you haven't seen it, we haven't even seen. I need to go watch the whole thing. I don't know if I will watch the whole thing,
You
but
you know what?
I don't know.
A lot of debates are very cringy. This one wasn't so bad,
Hmm.
actually. This one wasn't so. Yeah, she said stupid. She said things that are whatever irrelevant, but it wasn't so bad. I think you could stomach it. You know?
That's good. I have a pretty strong stomach, so I
Yeah,
feel confident that I could.
you can do it. Yeah, I believe in you, in your
I
stomach.
could eat anything. I'm one of those people that's like, oh, you don't want it? Give it to Kyle. He'll eat it. I'm one of those
So
people.
you're like the human trash compactor or something?
Yeah.
Cool. Disposal. All right.
So yeah. So check out the debate if you would like to, or if you're like me and you just want to watch the highlights, you can do that too. But as far as Mere Christianity goes, one of the reasons why that book is so great is because he tries to only talk about the issues that really matter. There's so many tier two and tier three type issues that we can debate about in the church, like, how to run a church service, and, pews versus chairs, and,
Programs.
traditional versus contemporary music in the worship section, and the type of preaching that the pastor does, and all this other stuff. That all of that stuff is more tier 3, but even tier 2 stuff that kind of has to do with salvation, but it doesn't get into the essentials, like the big Calvinism versus Arminianism, which we had a debate on, so go check that out. That's I don't remember which debate episode that was, but go check that out. That was from maybe 10 episodes ago, something like that. You'll be able to see it on there when you go look at our episodes. So go check that out. We had a debate between Calvinism and Arminianism. But even something like that, it's not mere Christianity, because both sides really, unless you're looking at some sort of fringe hyper version of either side, they believe in grace, that we are saved by grace through faith, um, not of any works, and really C.S. Lewis gets to the core of that. He's like, look, let's just look at what is essential to Christianity, and everything else you can have a friendly chat about with a Christian neighbor. But let's talk about what are the essentials in order to unite us. These are the things that if somebody disagrees with you on, then you try to have a conversation about to win them over and whatnot. But when it comes to other topics outside of what he covers in Mere Christianity, at the end of the day, let's not debate over those things, especially in the presence of non-believers, right? If you're out evangelizing with somebody and you guys don't agree on something, if it's not a tier 1 issue, then just table it to some other time, because you have to present a united front if you're going to be doing group witnessing. So yeah.
Amen.
So the gospel is the good news that Jesus loves and saves sinners. Apart from Christ, that is us. In Christ, that is no longer us, because his blood covers us. So let his blood cover you. If you're out there today and you want to give your life to Jesus, do it. It's something you will never regret. Give your life to Christ. Give him everything. Salvation is by grace through faith, not of any works. But we are God's workmanship. We are his creation, and we are created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which he has prepared in advance for us to do. I like to say, you should work like an Arminian and sleep like a Calvinist. Um, yeah. Any closing thoughts before we round out this episode?
Not really. No, not really. Not really. Yeah,
Okay.
that's good.
All right.
Cool.
Cool. Well, catch us on Patreon down below, and look at the link down below. We have a link for people that are looking to be believers, called the five. Not the five. I almost went into my Myers Mathematics end of the video pitch there. We the Living
Nice.
Waters article down below is for people that are looking at whether they want to give their life to Christ or not. It's a very good description uh, of the gospel, and you can check that out if you're on that fence about giving your life to Christ. And then for believers out there, you can catch us on Patreon and pray about whether the Lord would want you to donate to our ministry. And with that, we'll catch you guys in the next episode of the JK Talk Show. Next episode, live episode 40. Can you believe it? 40
The big
episodes.
4-0.
4-0. Man, we're over the hill as of next week. All right. Well, we'll
All
catch
right.
y'all then, and blessings.
See you. God bless.
And it's over.